welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GSL up and down matches. And even though Huck didn't win that last game, he has re-won my heart because he played so well in basically everything after the first, 10 minutes of the game. After the first 15 minutes of the game. At the beginning, he got a disadvantage, but he tried so hard to get back into it and almost got back into it. It was ridiculous. But we have an interesting situation here where basically the winner of the next game is actually going to advance because Lucky, if he wins, is going to be at 3-1, and he will advance just by sheer score. If Alicia wins, then it'll be a tiebreaker, but Alicia will have beaten the other players in the tiebreaker in their head-to-head, so he will have pre-won the tiebreaker, actually. Yeah. So that's kind of an interesting situation. So there's only one more game after all. I was wrong about there being tiebreaker matches.
Yep, so Alicia, is able to claw his way back through here. We didn't think he was probably going to make it. We joked even that his percentages of winning were extremely low, but he's only got one game left. If he wins it, he's back in Code S. Lucky vying for his chance here too. There can only be one though. I am Wolf. With me is Mole Trap. This is the GSL up and down matches. The final map is Belshire Beach. Let's get into the game.
All right, up here at the top left, he started off with an 0-2 in his first matches, but he's clawed his way back into a situation where he might win.
Alicia.
Slayers Alicia. Very interesting situation. And here is his Zerg opponent. Started off doing very well, but managed to just lose the wrong game to be in this situation.
So lucky.
I think so, lucky.
Yeah, played a really impressive ZZ. His other games were pretty decent as well.
Yeah.
Took
Very
out
strong Zerg player.
By the way, guys, make sure you check out the yearly premium and the premium plus tickets on GOMTV.net. Find which one really suits to your needs. Right now, there's a discount on those, so check that out.
Yep.
Go and get those tickets so you can watch Blizzard Cup VODs as well if you buy that right now. So make sure that you go and do that.
Yep, and if you have friends, by the way, who have thought about checking out the GSL before, maybe they haven't tried it yet, if they want to check out the up and down matches, we're actually going to be streaming on Twitch TV, twitch.tv/GOMTV as well, and it's going to be all free and high quality streaming on Twitch this week for the up and down matches. So if they want to see the GSL in its full splendor, now's a good time to check that out.
Very true. Yeah, definitely get your friends on and watching while this is free for high quality during this time period. Spawning pool first spotted by Alicia. He did block with a pylon though. And in fact, Lucky is just going to go ahead and take the base over on the left side.
A little gutsy, but could pay off.
Yeah, a lot of the times when you see players do this, they immediately send their probe to the third to prevent such a thing. But in this case, Alicia is actually just going to watch his pylon die, but be completely unaware of the fact that there is another base going up at this very moment.
Yeah, he's got to imagine that something like that is going on, though. Probably going to go over and check that third base location before too long.
Yeah, he is checking it now.
There's his probe going over there now. And that basically means that it's very unlikely that Lucky is going to just play a two-base strategy. If he's taking that third at the bottom position, it means he's almost certainly going to take his natural and just play a three-base strategy.
True. And the pylon does fall. Lucky has actually stopped early in production. Probably will be taking that hatchery right in the middle to get that third base. It'd be a really smart choice, especially considering that he's already scouted what his opponent's doing. It's a forge fast expand. He's going to have a lot of time. And there he goes, setting his drone down. He's going to take that fast third, which is ironically at his natural. The probe trying to come back here to see that, and in fact will see it. Huge. Nice scouting by Alicia.
Very nice indeed. And I almost said Huck because I'm so used to yelling about what Huck was doing last game. Alicia just playing normal here, getting his core going. Nice little wall set up there. It's actually got a little bit bigger hole than I would have anticipated in that wall.
Yeah, a little bit bigger.
And usually you'd put your core there, but he's decided to keep his core a little bit back farther. Maybe he wants to make sure it's not vulnerable.
I'm a little bit curious about, yeah, see, he's going to make a Stargate here. I'm a little bit curious about what Alicia's late game plans are going to be, considering that his opponent has gotten such a super fast third base up for basically free. Going for the Stargate, I feel, is kind of a risky move, considering that with extra hatcheries comes extra queens. We'll see how he uses that. We've seen awesome Stargate strategies from Alicia in the past. We've seen him do crazy all-ins on Calm Before the Storm. We've seen him do Void Ray all-ins against Terran quite often as well. We'll see what his plan is here. Sending that Zealot out to ward off Zerglings from scouting. Lucky sending an Overlord in, and will spot the Stargate.
Yep, spots the Stargate, spots the Chrono Boost. He's going to spot the Void Ray. Knows kind of exactly what's going on, and immediately plants down an Evo Chamber and a Roach Warren. That's kind of interesting, but it makes sense because he knows if he's building air units, he's not going to have as many ground units, and Roaches are going to be just a little bit stronger on the ground.
It's kind of ironic that Overlords come in to scout for Stargates, because if they don't see the Stargate, the Void Ray finds them.
Yeah, well, it does depend on, you know, if the opponent is using the Void Rays for just kind of control, or if they're trying to do a rush with them.
Right.
And in this case, he's just going to try and use it for control, but he does scout a few more gateways with this other Overlord first.
Very aware of what's going on. This is pretty common to see the 3 gateway follow-up after the first Void Ray. Making a second Void Ray rather than Phoenix's, though, and he is making a forward pylon. It looks like he may actually be committing to a pretty big attack here. Yeah. And actually, Lucky's creep is heading towards that pylon. He doesn't quite see it, but he will see it soon in just a few seconds.
Yeah, once he plants another creep tumor that direction, he will be able to see it with the next creep tumor.
It may even happen before then. It's getting dangerously close.
Well, the creep doesn't actually give vision itself. The tumor does.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
The vision won't spread.
Well, yeah, it's barely not enough, but he sees the Zealots anyways now, so it's...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's going to attack from 2 sides. I like this. The Zealot's going to the third base. A few Roaches on the way, though. Should be enough to defend this.
Oh, and he's trying to catch the Roaches with the Void Ray. Queen's running away here. Excuse me. And those Roaches are going to be able to, well, attack those Zealots kind of feebly. Actually, they didn't even micro. No need to. They're going to die to the Void Ray anyway. The Queen's kind of just chilling instead of attacking the Void Ray. Now that he has 4, they team up on that Void Ray. It is forced to fall back.
Well, you know, this attack doing a lot better than I thought it would. Moltrap a good transfuse here, but it looks like there may be too many queens. That Void Ray is not going to be around much longer. Oh no, he misclicks.
What is he doing?
Misclicks with his queens, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter. Zealot's doing some damage to this hatchery. The Void Rays are charged.
The Queen's just kind of running around in circles, eating Zealot fire. And the Void Ray looks like he polishes off one of the Queens. Another Queen coming in, but the second Void Ray is hammering away on that new hatchery. Everything kind of falling to pieces here for Lucky, but he does have enough Roaches now to deal with everything on the ground, so he can secure the air with his Queens. But for a second, it looked very bad with the Zealots just kind of killing off Queens. And will the Void Ray fall? Not quite.
Well, that was almost an all-in by Alicia. He's got a Robo back up at home. He's remade a pylon so he can possibly do some harassment later.
Oh, he's losing the Void Ray! Oh!
Huge. This play by Alicia was actually extremely sloppy. There were so many better things he could have done, like targeting down the hatchery before the Queens were there because the creep wasn't connected, or killing drones, or killing the Roaches systematically, but instead he just did not target anything and ended up killing a Roach here, a drone here, and like 1 Queen, and losing so many Zealots and so much time. He's way behind right now. In supply, he's even, but he's got no army out really. His opponent's got 3 bases. He's got huge production and a good economy. Yeah,
this is a really tenuous situation for Alicia, actually. Lucky could probably just attack now and win. I don't think he knows that, but Alicia doesn't have an army at all, as you mentioned. And Lucky's trying to find out if that is the case or not. Doesn't actually run his Changeling in to find out, but he does scout the Robo, so he knows that's going on, although the Immortals were kind of a clue.
Okay, so what Alicia's going to do from here is go up to 7 gateways. His Void Rays, some of them are still alive. He's going to harass these Zealots right now. I actually disagree with this choice. He's not going to get very much of this. He may take out a Queen.
Whoa. Okay.
Scouts the Spire as well. That's somewhat significant. It's actually going to really favor what Alicia is doing here because he's looking like he wants to just hit a big 7-gate all-in timing because he's so behind, and that's all he's really got going for him. But instead, warped in the Zealots. They don't like that. I would rather see him warp in more Stalkers. He's still got a decent army, in fact, still ahead in supply, but Lucky is attacking right now. He's going to see this, and it may give him enough time to turn around and prepare for this all-in.
Yeah,
Your Roach is going down.
Coming out. There's still 2 Void Rays in the mix, and there's only a few Queens roaming around as attacking units. So, I mean, Alicia is going to be hard-pressed to meet the army because Lucky is going to be able to put out so many units. But the thing is if he can clear out those Queens, the Void Rays can just sit behind Force Fields and Roaches and sit behind Stalkers and do a lot of damage over time if the battle lasts a while. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes down.
He needs to go now. He is actually waiting, and more units are coming out for Lucky. I think this game's over, Moltrap. I think he's waited too long. He may have enough still, but he is just actually, he's screwing this up. I don't know. I'm like, no, Moltrap, he can actually win if he goes right now, and then he just isn't going for some reason.
While he's been waiting, Lucky has made another, like, 15 Roaches and 20 Zerglings. He's going to lose his reinforcements to these Roaches because he didn't wait for the pylon at the front to warp in.
Very true, but at the same time, since all those Roaches are out of position, Alicia may be able to get, at the very least, this 3rd hatchery. You should target it down instead of going for these extractors, and yeah, he is going to target this hatchery down by the looks of things. Good force fields, and Lucky setting up a flank.
But the force fields stop it from being a flank.
What is Alicia doing? He's actually so hesitant here. He needs to just get this hatchery and get out and force field just one more time.
And instead he lets this flank get in here. The Roaches surrounding him from all sides. He leaves his Void Ray within fire of those Queens and the Spore Crawler. Loses one, he does fall back the second one. The hatchery is almost dead. The Immortal firing away on it, doing so much damage. The Roach is coming around the side. No flank this time means that Alicia... No, there is a flank. There's more Roaches in the back. So many force fields. Excuse me. Going.
Well, right now, Alicia is killing this army quite cost efficiently. He kept his army alive. Lucky has lost his hatchery. Alicia, though, you know, he's in a good spot, but he's going to be very careful here with these drones coming off the line. He needs to pull the Immortals back, or at least have them target fire. He's not. The Immortals firing at drones, and it looks like Lucky is going to surround these Stalkers.
Yeah, he needed to target those Immortals on the Roaches. Instead, they were wasting their firepower, and now the Roaches are just too many. They're going to chase down these Stalkers.
Alicia warping in Zealots for some reason, despite the fact that he had enough resources to warp in Stalkers. Warping in Zealots against Roaches. The Roaches have +1, so does Alicia, though. And Alicia just completely botching this strategy, I feel.
And there are 30 Zerglings about to hatch or hatching in the process. Roaches are going to finally corner this last force, and not the best micro, but Lucky can afford to lose a couple Roaches to Zealots here because he is just tracking this down, and he's going to cancel it. He does cancel all those Zealots that were about to warp in.
That would have been helpful for Alicia, considering those Zealots would have accomplished nothing. I'm still completely shocked that he continues to warp in Zealots when he has plenty enough gas and minerals to warp in Stalkers instead against only Roaches. I don't know, Moltrap. I feel like Alicia has gone off the deep end in this game. He's actually making every wrong choice. And now, even though he killed the hatchery, Lucky's got control of the game. His hatchery's been remade. It's about to finish. And Lucky can actually just continue to trade armies.
And there are close to a dozen mutas about to warp in, which are going to do pretty good against the Immortal heavy army that Lucky has right now. 4 Stalkers, I think, is all he has.
Yeah. 5 now. He just warped in the 5th one. And you heard that squeal. It's the squeal of the mutas. Sounded just like that.
That was horrible. I'm sick. I'm sorry. I do a much better mutalist compression when I'm not sick. By the way, sorry for falling into a fit of coughing in the middle of my sentence earlier.
That's totally fine.
These mutalists are coming in to do some harassment now. There's nothing here. They're going to get a couple probes before these Stalkers warp in. Choosing to engage the Stalkers. Might as well. Until the rest of the Stalkers get there. There's no blink. There's not even a Twilight Council, I don't think. So he can afford to just harass with those mutas pretty much unhindered.
He went in a little bit too soon with his mutas. He didn't have a good mutalist count, and so he went for probes that were way oversaturated. Killed a few of them, but the bigger issue here for Alicia is that he needs another base. He's way oversaturated in his main and his natural. Yeah. He's got 59 probes, but about 8 mineral patches that have less than 400 minerals at them each.
He's got 59 probes, and about 30 of them are mining one of those patches in the main. He's going to warp in. Nice getting the warp prism so he can try and harass these extra bases.
Well, that was the best possible thing that could have happened for Alicia. He warped in Zealots right as a drone arrived at the hatchery. The hatchery just had to be canceled.
Nice. And he's going to go into the main with those Zealots as well, but the Mutalisks are not going to have any of that. They have flown all the way back. And, well...
Wow, he even doesn't cancel the Zealots. Embarrassingly bad play from Alicia.
And doesn't even actually attack the drones with them. They just stand idly by to die. Yeah,
this is actually... I'm normally not this critical of players, but Alicia's play in this game has actually been, quite frankly, embarrassing.
Alicia is getting that next base up at the top. He's transferring his probes a lot. By the way, that it looks like they're transferring early, but actually those probes are going to do better distance mining than they would be mining in the natural. That's how oversaturated he is. So it makes sense to transfer those probes regardless. He's trying to secure that third.
The Mutas are going to come into the main here, pick off some pylons, try to unpower some gateways, as Lucky's units cannot be everywhere at once. He's got to deal with the Roaches and the Mutas. And the Roaches come to the right side. He may have to cancel this Nexus.
Oh no. The Mutas are in the main, but we're not getting a shot of it on the right. There, the Zerglings are forced back from that Nexus. But in the meantime, pylons going down, gateways being unpowered, Robo being unpowered, Blink cannot finish if that pylon goes down.
No Blink.
Blink is not currently researching right now, even though it's a sliver away from finishing. The Stalkers can't even blink back. They have to walk in here manually. And there's not even enough of them. He actually didn't bring all of his Stalkers, I don't think.
Nope,
so
he's just
gonna die.
He's spread way too thin. He sends his Stalkers now, but meanwhile, Lucky's multitasking is too good. He attacks the right side. The Nexus will fall, no doubt about it. So many probes being damaged here as well.
And without Blink, Lucky is just has his run of the base. The Templar Archives goes down as well.
He's got no power. He only has power on one of his gateways right now, so he can only make a Stalker at a time. 4 more Mutas on the way. Blink does finish as that Twilight Council gets repowered.
So we have Lucky at 5 bases and Alicia at 1. I wonder who's going to win this game, Wolf.
Well, we'll find out. We'll see if Alicia can pull off some Huck-like moves. They're now living together, so you never know.
That's true. That's true. Hopefully Alicia's been learning from the foreign master, from the Canadian master toss.
The pylon finishes just in time to die as the Mutas take it out. They may get the Nexus as well, which is essentially a pylon that can chrono boost at this point, and it does fall.
Little trivia note, by the way, they actually in the alpha, and there's the GG coming from Alicia. Lucky, even though he was in a very strange position where he went from 2-0 to a place where he could lose a game and lose his spot, does clinch the last game and win the game for the Code S medallion.
Alicia playing quite poorly in some stages of that game. I have to admit, okay, so what happens when you do a failed Zealot and Void Ray all in and you scout a Spire and a Roach Spore on your opponent's making only Roaches and he's got possibly Mutas on the way? Do you warp in only Zealots? I don't think normally you do. Actually, I don't think so. I would say in most cases, no. You don't continue to make Colossi either. You don't do that. You'll make a Robotic Support Bay when you scout that, actually, usually. And then when you warp in Zealots with a Warp Prism, you don't just have them stand there and die. When you see 8 Mutas coming in and your vision is actually looking at the Warp Prism, and I checked, he was staring at that Warp Prism, okay? He warped in 5 Zealots.
Really?
Yeah, and he actually, when that happens, when you see the Mutas, you can just put it back into transportation mode. It'll cancel all the Zealots to get all your money back. No, he just watched me. He was like, I'm so angry right now. I just want my Zealots to die.
If you can even, like, as they're warping in, you can actually select the warping units and right-click them to the mineral line, so at least they go towards where the drones are after they finish. You can do that as well.
Alicia, clearly, after his attack failed, he also had a perfect timing. I was like, wow, he's got 2 Emos, he's got a ton of Zealots and Stalkers, he's even got his Void Rays alive and go kill a hatchery. And then he was like, well, I think I'm going to make a pylon over here, then over here, and then attack later. And then when I attack, I go in, I'm like, do perfect force fields, and then just run away for some reason.
Yeah.
Or he could have killed the Roaches that were trying to flank and then come back in because the Roaches were in 2 different places, but he didn't do that either.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, to be a little bit fair, Lucky made some mistakes too in that early battle, actually. His queens were kind of just running around in circles, not doing anything. Sometimes they were trying to avoid Zealots, but sometimes they were just like chasing a Void Ray that had run out of vision and they were just dying to Zealots when they didn't need to.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But then on the flip side of it, Lucky was also sending a group of roaches to catch reinforcement stalkers so they couldn't rejoin with the rest of the army. And doing moves like that, and that's what enabled them to fend off that initial attack. So here's the final results for you guys. Nada coming out with a convincing 3-1. Lucky pulling off that last game for the win as well. Monster got to that 2-2 situation, but he was hoping for a tie, but actually it wouldn't have worked out anyway because Alicia would have won the tiebreaker regardless. And Huck, unfortunately and uncharacteristically, goes down 1-3 in this group. It was a tough group, couldn't quite pull it off, and Alicia just has not brought his play back up to snuff like it was a few seasons ago. I was hoping he had, but he hasn't. So that's going to be the results for today. Tomorrow, Ryung, Maro, Bomber, Killer, Tassadar, and Gumiho. Wow, that is going to be a really, really cool group. Maro representing the only Zerg in that group, but he's only going to play Zerg tomorrow because he only plays turn versus other Zergs.
Very true.
So that's going to be really, really interesting. A lot of really good players in there. A lot of players who have been a little bit shaky lately. A lot of players like Maro who have yet to prove themselves. We're going to see what they can bring to the GSL.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, Maro is going to do quite well tomorrow, but everyone in that group is solid. I think
everyone's solid.
Gumiho is my favorite, my pick to get out of the group. I think he will. His play has been a little bit shaky recently, but I think he should be able to get out of that group.
He's kind of the sleeper, I think. Like, he's the player who no one suspects who is probably going to do pretty well because he's done well in the past. Anyway, I am Moltrap. With me is Wolf. I apologize again for coughing in your ears from time to time, but it's been some great games, so I hope it was worth it for you guys. That's going to do it for today. Come back tomorrow for more GSL up and down matches.